by balancing bike life. He says, did we make a mistake keeping both linebackers and getting rid of both safeties, especially considering how young our corners are? I'll say this. I think losing, losing your safeties, especially Von Bell and Von Bell and Jesse Bates, and seeing how great of communicator Jesse Bates was and getting help and getting the defense set and all that kind of stuff, it certainly hurts, man. It certainly hurts because the big explosive plays was not something this Bengals defense we've grown accustomed to with this Bengals defense, especially when you have two veterans back there. I think the loss of those guys were understated a little bit. And I think Lou Anarumo was on record. He's saying, "Hey, if it'll be a dark day if I lose both my safeties," and it was a dark day, and that happened. So now you're tasking, albeit two rookies, essentially, even though Dax Hill's a second-year player, he's a rookie, and from a starting standpoint, you're tasking him with the communication aspect and all that kind of stuff. It's tough, but I think that it's the National Football League. You can't make excuses. That's why you have preseason. That's why you have training camp. You're hoping that these guys get up to speed. Obviously, you know it's going to be rough at some point, but the hope is, at least, I would assume the hope was from this coaching staff was by this point of the season that they'd be clicking on cylinders. But I also don't think it helped that waited so late into the season to finally establish, hey, who's going to be your safety core, essentially.
And here's the other thing, right? Because what do we say when one of our guys is missing a game, right? Next man up, right? And the NFL cycle of team identity, whatever you want to call it, team makeup, roster building, makeup, it changes every 3 or so years. That's kind of the NFL cycle. That's a lot of contracts for 2-3 years, unless you're a big deal guy and you get 4 or 5, right? By that nature, you kind of always have to be shifting who is kind of the core of your defense. And I feel like they looked at Logan Wilson and they looked at Jermaine Pratt and said, Logan Wilson, you've kind of been a captain on this defense the last couple of years. We feel comfortable handing the veteran reins, so to speak, of this defense to you guys. You got to step up and be leaders. And I feel like both Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt are having years below expectation of what we'd expect for them. And I feel like that's compounding the issue of the safeties being gone. And I feel like not only the safeties leaving, but then bringing in the literal worst safety in the NFL and playing him back there for 7 or 8 weeks also compounded. So it's not just losing those guys, it's losing those guys and having the linebackers who are supposed to be filling in as the new captains of the defense play below their level of expectation. It's having Nick Scott be the literal worst safety in the NFL for 7 or 8 weeks, making it look even worse. Like, if you put Jordan Battle in there, are there some rookie mistakes at the start of the season? Probably sure, but does it look so bad where you have all the missed tackles and all the issues? Probably not. But yeah, it definitely hurts losing those guys for sure. I expect that to look better going into next season. Obviously, these guys, all the young guys, Dax Hill, Jordan Battle, DJ Turner, have had flashes of what we expect and what we see the greatness in their potential. But eventually that potential will need to be realized. And I think another year with all this playing experience is really going to do them well in that regard.
I agree, man.